Well, it's not just the Greyhound Derby taking place on Saturday night live on Racing Post Greyhound TV. We, of course, have those 4 quarterfinals. There's also some big race action coming from Crayford as well. 4 finals on the card there and some Category 1 action as well. We've got the Ladbrokes Kent St Ledger final. And I'm delighted to say joining me is the man overseeing the action at Crayford. It's the racing manager at Crayford, Danny Rayment. How are you, Danny?
Yeah, fine. Thanks, Dave. All good.
Busy time as ever. Well, you're always a busy man, Danny, but I suppose when you've got competitions going on, you're very, very busy.
Yeah, just had all the sort of open races closing into the 6 meetings a week schedule, and it's a very busy time indeed.
Okay, well, let's talk the £7,500 Ladbrokes Kent St Ledger final. One of the big ones, Danny, of course, and behind the golden jacket. You know, this is the race.
Yeah. Obviously a bit disappointing this year that Carl Brazier hasn't been able to sponsor it as in previous years with his J&K Coach Tours. Hopefully, his business is picking up again. He'll pick up the mantle again in the next year or two. We'll keep it going, and it's an excellent competition, and the final is an absolute cracker. I mean, there's 3 main sort of competitors in the final, but certainly not to rule out the other 3 either.
We'll start with the first semi-final, and it was Mark Wallace's Bowshine Bullet who was very, very impressive here. Danny, of course, very impressive during the golden jacket. Obviously suffered that rough ride in the final, but a bitch that has really taken to the track. Yeah,
she loves Crayford. I mean, her record speaks for itself. I think she's only been beaten twice in this country, both times in Category 1 finals. So obviously picked the wrong time to miss the break in the golden jacket final, and just a wall of dogs in front of her at the bend and nowhere to go. So, but she certainly looks like she's putting that right in this competition now, and certainly the one to beat in the final.
Yeah, she put a 45.27 up on the ball, but very brave at the first bend, wasn't she?
Yeah, she had a little bit of pace going up the inside of her into the first bend, but she shrugged it off, went round, and another very impressive performance. And sort of equally impressive was the runner-up Droopy Star with Julie Luckhurst. Didn't really see that performance coming, but certainly deserved to be in the final on merit there.
Yeah, I remember when Julie stepped Droopy's dial up from the 380 to the 540. I wasn't sure just how well that one would stay, but as you say, in good hands, and flying the local flag as well in the final.
Yeah, always nice to have a local in the final. I mean, I'm not sure how many sort of wins we've had against the Ledger over the years, but I think of a couple of notable golden jacket winners, Mildine Clarkey for Barry O'Sullivan and Walk the Line for Patsy Cusack a few years ago. So yeah, always nice to have a local in the final.
Absolutely right. We'll move on then to semi-final 2, and a nice performance this one from Simon Harms' Deadly Delago. Simon, of course, won this competition last year with his Droopy's Bird. Really powered home, Danny.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with someone about this race, and she was one I could see, he was one that I could see sort of coming through the field, and strong sort of surge in the heats to qualify from an impossible position, and any sort of run in the semi-final. I could see it winning this race, and Julie did. And I think its win record overall in this country is not great, but it's improved to a second win in the country now.
Yeah, certainly come into hand nicely. And Lemon Fly, who did, of course, cut out the run, he'd be looking to assert early on in the final as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, Michelle Brown's dog's got his draw, but you'd say that he probably struggled to keep the big guns at bay for too long in Saturday's final.
Yeah, absolutely. It's probably a big price. Their third semi-final, and the fastest winner of the 3 semi-finals went to Heather Dimmock's Alaskan Dawn, who is a really, really nice type, bags of pace. And this was some effort, Danny, wasn't it?
Oh, very impressive. Yeah, every the trial and both races at Crayford have been very impressive from Alaskan Dawn. Big imposing dog who really seems to have taken to the track well. But equally impressive was May Sabbath, the runner-up, coming from sort of well off the pace to coming around the last couple of bends, looked like it might have even picked Alaskan Dawn up. Yeah,
but big time there, 45.24, and Heather, of course, won the golden jacket a couple of years ago with her Stardom. So good record, recent record at the track. Well, we're in a very fortunate position, Danny. Usually when we have you on, you sort of a view on the graded action, and it's a bit tricky for you to give a view, but you haven't graded any of this. These are finals, so we'll pick your brains on the finals on Saturday night, and this is the first one. Who's going to win it?
Well, we've got some big trainers coming up against each other here. Obviously, the champion trainers of the last few years, Patrick Jensen's with May Sabbath and Mark Wallace with Bowshine Bullet, and throw Heather Dimmock's Alaskan Dawn into the mix as well. I think it's going to be quite a battle for the sort of early supremacy between Alaskan Dawn and Bowshine Bullet. I expect Bowshine Bullet probably just to lead round, but could be getting harassed by Alaskan Dawn for quite a lot of the journey. And I think that might let in May Sabbath to come with a withering late run and maybe get up off the last bend.
Well, third one in the bet in there. Patrick Jensen's May Sabbath is a selection of racing manager Danny Rayment. Well, the 8:59 race on Saturday night at Crayford is another of the big finals. And this time a quirky little final, this one. This is the Ladbrokes Guys and Dolls, where the bitches and the dogs don't meet until the final, but the £3,000 decider has arrived, and the racing manager Danny Rayment joins me. Danny, it's a quirky competition. It's a competition that had a very brief spell at Romford last year, but predominantly in recent years has been raced at Crayford, and I'm sure it's nice to have it back.
Yeah, it's kind of changed a lot over the years. I think the first time we ran it as a Category 1 was back in 2008, and Matt Dartnell won it with me buddy. And then it's sort of had 6 or 7 years in the wilderness before we brought it back. And I think 3 locals won the first 3 when it came back as a Category 2 competition. A couple of KTO Flatty's dogs, Brick Mansions, maybe one of them, and Headford Joe, followed by Pure Placer for Belinda Green. So it's a competition I enjoy. I'm not a major fan of 380 competitions, to be honest with you. I just think that sometimes the dogs going into the bend a bit too fast. Some of the types that we get around here, and if they're not seeded correctly, we can get a bit of trouble there. But I like this format because it keeps the bitches together for the early rounds, not too much buffeting with them, and the dogs can handle themselves against each other. And by the time you get to the final, the bitches deserve to be there, and they can normally handle themselves as well.
Well, let's have a look at the semi-finals, or the guys' final and the dolls' final, however you want to call it, from last week. First up, we'll look at the guys' race. First 3 coming home here, 2, 5 and 6. But Ballina Be Lucky, this was a really nice performance coming from off the speed.
Yeah, Ballina Be Lucky's had a lot of experience around Crayford, always runs a terrific race around here, and I think he made the final of the competition back in October, supported the big Kensington Leisure there at that time. I think the Rose Bowl. I think a few of these were obviously in that final, including Signature Callum, who won it. So yeah, a lot of the same dogs do sort of return for these competitions, and Punk Rock Dole was favourite for the one supporting the Golden Jacket in February as well. So it's an interesting race, and certainly Ballina Be Lucky's got his chance, but so have most of the rest of them as well.
Yeah, we rattled home, and in the Doles final, 23.50, quickest of the 2. I've got gears, but a race that changed complexion in a big way around the second bend.
Yeah, Antonella, first time she's actually banged out of the traps for a little while. She's got the fastest ever sectional round Crayford for the 380 now, and she came away, but moved off between the bends, taking Punk Rock Dole with her, which allowed a gap up the inside for I've Got Gears, and I've Got Gears took it. Yeah,
this final's an interesting one. As you say, over the 380 metres, a little bit of a shootout to the corner, but it's very difficult to get away from. I'm drawn to the inside, Danny, with the draw, Ballina Be Lucky, the only unseeded runner, i.e. Rayla. Then we've got 2 middles and 3 wides. How do you see it?
Yeah, it's an intriguing contest. Probably rather not quite as many wides as there are in the race. Only Maloney's kind of was a revelation when it came to us, with Jason Heath having his graded runners with us for a while. Just seemed to really take to the track, and has got a fantastic record around here. Probably going to struggle from the trap 4 draw. Punk Rock Dole's got all the pace in the world, but again, sandwiched between fast dogs as well. Signature Callum, it'd be nice to see him win. I've just become a daddy last night by the sounds of it, with Mixed Little Gem and whelping the litter with he's the sire of that. I'm gonna stick with the locals here. I'm gonna go for Antonella to get that break right again, and this time maybe sort of corner a bit better and be hard to beat once she's a length or 2 clear up the back straight.
She's certainly got that fast start. Am I right in thinking that she's got the sectional record, or certainly one of the fastest sectionals ever recorded at Crayford?
Yes, she certainly has. Yeah, definitely on these traps. A 3.36 sectional, couple of 3 or 4 months back now, but I think she's got a host of sort of low 340s as well, so she can really ping out when she wants to.
Well, it's a big night at Crayford on Saturday night, of course, as well as the Ladbrokes Kent St Ledger final and the Guys and Doles final. We've got two supporting finals as well, both with £1,000 up for grabs. The Kent Champion Hurdle and the Kent Vase. We like to mix it up a little bit down at Crayford, Danny, don't you? And you've got all sorts going on Saturday night.
Yeah, it's nice to keep these competitions going. The Kent Champion Hurdle and the Kent National Hurdle are a couple of races we've run for a few years now. Kent Vase used to be our main race over 540, going back sort of 10, 15 years. So it's another one that disappeared for a little while, but kind of reintroducing it as a supporting final for the Kent St Ledger this time. And yeah, it's a couple of intriguing finals there.
Well, let's talk about the Champion Hurdle then. £1,000 up for grabs in the Ladbrokes Kent Champion Hurdle. Unfortunately, no Droopy's Rex, who's been withdrawn. Visually, I thought Toolmaker Daddy was very, very impressive, and he's got his box again out wide in 6.
Yeah, he's definitely the best drawn dog in the race. Toolmaker Daddy, toughest test, will definitely edge in on the run up, as will Wilson in 4 as well. Wilson is a sort of up and coming hurdler, like Foxrock Bray. Suddenly sort of took to the track really well and is winning plenty of races now. He's one I'd say is a dark horse here, especially with a vacant trap inside him. If he pings out, it'll be hard to beat. But Toolmaker Daddy certainly he is the one to beat overall.
Yeah, without that, he's got a really good draw at Toolmaker Daddy for Ricky Holloway in 6 there. And then a little bit later on, Danny, 7:43. And again, £1,000 up for grabs. Ladbrokes Kent Vase. And Mark Wallace, who's got a tremendous record in any sort of 540-metre competition at Crayford, has got a strong hand here. His Baby Bullet was very impressive, making all the running last week.
Yeah, she was probably drawn a bit further out than ideal in 4, but it's not a bang railer, but certainly sort of trap 2 would be ideal for her. But the one you've got to look towards here really is I Am's Alexi. Fantastic record at the track, apart from a couple of minor indiscretions when she sort of checks a little bit at the pickup on occasions. But if she avoids doing that, she's the one to beat you without a doubt.
Okay, is it as straightforward as that? Is one or the other for Mark Wallace's charge, or do we give a chance to anything else in the race?
I'd say Dueling Princess certainly is capable. Some of his her best form round Crayford and Romford puts her right up with I Am's Lexi here. It's just the draw with Lexi in 2 inside Dueling Princess. You'd expect Lexi to pace up and possibly lead into the bend and be difficult to pick up thereafter. Obviously, the best drawn dog in the race is Ballina B Jet, but I'm just not quite sure it's good enough to take advantage of what is an excellent draw.
Okay, well, we like to get racing office opinion here on Racing Post Greyhound TV. So just confirm your 2 selections in those supporting finals for us then, please, Danny.
I'm going to go with Wilson in the Kent Champion Hurdle to upset Toolmaker Daddy, just possibly on the break. And in Kent Vase, I'll stick with I Am's Alexia. I fully expect her to sort of lead into the first bend and be very difficult to pick up then.
Well, I'm very grateful that the racing manager at Crayford, Danny Rayment, has taken time to join us and talk all things down at the track, life at the track. Danny, I know you're a busy man anyway. Let's talk the graded strength at the moment. How are things? I know there's been a little bit of movement, of course, with Darren Whitten coming in from a Harlow, and Katie O'Flaherty's after 6 years, she's off to Romford.
Yeah, it's very disappointing to lose Katie to Romford, but it's kind of a long-held ambition of hers to be a Romford trainer, and I couldn't really stand in her way when I realised that that's what she wanted to do. 6.5 years at the track, arguably, from my opinion, she's been my best appointment in my time as racing manager on kind of overall impacts that she's made at the track and longevity of keeping a very strong strength at the track for quite a period of time. So very disappointing to lose her. Wish her all the best in pastures new at Romford, and I'm looking forward to welcoming Darren. He's had his first trialers yesterday morning. Dozen or so went round, mainly went round pretty well. And ironically, he's actually training out of Katie's old kennels up near Lakenheath Airbase.
Oh, right.
So
okay. Interesting.
What goes around comes around.
Yeah, and we carried a piece in the Racing Post, and it sounds like he's got lots of pups over in Ireland, and will be sort of bolstering his numbers in the coming months.
Yeah, he's got sort of 30 to 35 ready to come on in the next few weeks. I think there's another 17 to come before the end of the year, and I think he's part of a bit of a breeding program up over in Ireland, but there's more on the way after that.
So how are things at the moment anyway, Danny, at the track, outside of that little bit of movement? Are numbers good? I know have you still got sort of Jason Heath and Gemma dual attached? What's the situation there?
Jason Heath actually has gone back to Hove last month, so we just got Gemma dual attached now. Numbers are okay, not 100% brilliant. I could always do with a few more. Hopefully, over the coming weeks, we'll get a few more on the strength. But obviously, this time of the year, you're going to lose quite a few in season, niggly injuries, off colour, things like that, and it's difficult to sort of maintain a strength of over 500 when you've got a busy 6 meeting a week schedule, particularly if it's all 6 graded meetings as well. That does become very challenging. During obviously this month, we've had the Kensington Ledger and the other open races going on, so that's been a help. During July, I think we've got 3 Saturday evenings where we're not on RPG TV. We won't be racing those evenings, pure and simply because it needs to be viable for us to be sort of opening up. And in current climate, with the COVID situation and everything, it's not really ideal. But that'll give the strength a bit of a break if it needs it during July, and hopefully sort of coming into August, we'll have more than enough dogs to cope with the busy schedule.
Yeah, while I've got you, I mean, I know it's a bit sort of outside of your jurisdiction, if you like, but Crayford, always a very, very busy track in normal times, brilliant catchment area. How's life been at the track? The restaurant downstairs, what's the situation? Numbers in?
Obviously, until sort of about a month ago, we were still racing pretty much behind closed doors. The track is open all week now. Basically, the downstairs bar is open on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays for the public, and the trainers and kennel hands go upstairs. On Tuesday evening, it's the other way round. The trainers go downstairs, and the public are upstairs in the restaurant. And on Saturday, the public are in upstairs and downstairs, and the trainers unfortunately have to sort of stay out in sort of either in their vans or in a bit outside the downstairs bar near the paddock. So obviously looking forward to restrictions easing a little bit and that becoming a bit easier to manage. But yeah, no, it's certainly Saturdays in the restaurant seem to be coping pretty well. More spaced out than normal, not as many people in there, but certainly what we are able to do with the space that we've got, we are doing the best we can.
Absolutely, and always a busy track. Hopefully we'll be back to normal and the punters will be rammed in at Crayford, no doubt about that. Well, thank you for your time, Danny. Anyway, give us a little insight into life at Crayford. I know you're very, very busy. I know you're going to be darting off to the track sort of as soon as you shut your laptop here, but yeah, we appreciate your time.
No problem. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.